I've been told that I should keep it short, shut up, keep it quiet, not say too much, because you guys have got zillions of questions. So my topic is, what is libertarianism, what is Austrianism, what are the relationships between them? And I'll just speak for 15 or 20 minutes, and then we can have a good fight over these issues. Let me start with libertarianism. Libertarianism, as far as I can figure out, is a philosophy that says that liberty is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's the most wonderful thing. It's the highest political value. There are other values in life besides liberty: love, music, I don't know, sports, whatever. But liberty is certainly an important one. And the essence of libertarianism is the non-aggression principle, or the non-aggression axiom, which says that you should keep your mitts off of other people and their property unless you have their permission. And the way I see libertarianism is sort of a two-sided coin. On the one side is the non-aggression axiom, and on the other side is private property rights. And both are very important, because suppose I grab that pitcher of water over there and I run away with it. Have I committed theft? Well, it depends upon who the owner of it is. If you guys stole it from me yesterday, and now I'm just coming and grabbing it back, well then I'm not engaging in theft. Rather, I'm engaging in the return of stolen property that you guys took from me yesterday. On the other hand, if it's your water pitcher, and I just grab it, well then I'm violating the non-aggression axiom, because I am invading, I'm guilty of an uninvited border crossing. So these are the two sides of the libertarian coin: private property rights and the non-aggression axiom. How do you get private property rights? Well, we start with self-ownership. We each own ourselves, and that sort of rules out slavery and kidnapping and assault and battery and rape. So this is hardly radical. I mean, most people are against assault and battery and rape and murder. I mean, I don't know anyone who favors that, and certainly all countries, even North Korea, Cuba, whatever, have laws like that on the books. They're not very radical, but we'll get to more radical stuff. So we have the self-ownership. Well, it's not enough to just own yourself and be free of murder, rape, and assault and battery. You also have to live and eat and sleep somewhere. So we have to have property. So how do we decide who owns what? Well, the way the Rothbardian, Hoppian, John Lockean view is, it's based on homesteading. And what's homesteading? Homesteading is you mix your labor with the land, you start growing some crops there, and then you own it after a while. There are complications. How long do you have to homestead it for? We can go into those in the question period if you want, but the idea is the way you get to own things is by mixing your labor with it. You capture a wild horse or a cow and you domesticate it, and then you get to be the owner of it because you mixed your bodily labor with it, and you own your body, and therefore you own the labor of your body. And when you mix it with virgin territory or animals that are wild, which are sort of virgin territory, unowned, well, you get to own them. And then you can do anything that doesn't violate the non-aggression axiom with your property. For example, you can give it away, you can trade it. So if I homesteaded some land and I grew corn, and you homesteaded some chickens, and you have these chickens, and then we trade eggs for corn, well, even though I didn't produce the eggs, I'm the legitimate owner because I can trace it to homesteading or a voluntary interaction, and you guys are the owners of the corn, even though you didn't produce it, but you traded it with me for your eggs. Robert Nozick has some sort of saying, I think it's something like any legitimate title transfer or libertarian title transfer, which would be gifts and gambling, trading, buying and selling, things like that. The radical part of libertarianism is that everything should be privately owned. There shouldn't be any governmental ownership, and here's where we get the anarchy business coming in, because what the government is a sort of a alien force. It's not compatible with libertarianism because it engages in initiatory violence. It says you must join the government, whether you like to or not, and that's incompatible with the non-aggression principle. You know, the government comes along to you, you say you've been homesteading before the government started. The government doesn't exist from the year one, you know, when we were in the trees or when we were apes. There was no government then. There were people before there was government, and then the government got up on its hind legs and said, well, you guys all have to join. And some of us said, well, we don't want to, and they slapped us around and made us. So that's an illegitimate thing. And also, governments demand monopolies in a given territory, like we're in Canada now, and if I set myself up as a competing government and I say, hey, I'll give you goods and services, I'll give you police protection, give me money for that and don't give it to those guys, they're not going to much like it, and they're going to use force to stop me. And yet, what did I do? I just made a voluntary offer to you people, and if you don't take it, that's fine, but if suppose you agree, they won't allow it. So that's incompatible with the libertarian philosophy. So the idea would be, under anarcho-libertarianism, that everything is private, and the only interaction that we have with each other is purely voluntary. No one forces, no one compels anyone to do anything. Parks would be private, roads would be private, sidewalks. My most recent book is Privatizing Roads and Highways. We can talk a little bit about that if that interests you. Welfare, there wouldn't be any government welfare system, but there would be private charity. There would be private libraries, private schools, like here we are at UBC, which is a government school. There wouldn't be any government schools because there wouldn't be any government. So everything would be done privately. Courts, police, armies, libraries, roads, you name it, it's private, because in the anarchist libertarian system there is no government. Now, libertarianism is a big tent operation, and I would say that the anarcho-libertarians are maybe, 5–10% of all libertarians. Most libertarians are not anarchist libertarians. Most libertarians are minarchists.